We now turn to another milestone in the development of number theory. If p is a prime number, then p divides p minus 1 factorial plus 1. John Wilson guessed this on the basis of numerical computations, but he didn't get idea how to prove it. Even his teacher Edward also didn't get idea how to show this result. Then Lagrange gave a proof of what in literature today is called Wilson's theorem, and observed that the converse also holds. Let's have statement. Wilson's theorem. Theorem 5.4. If p is a prime number, then p minus 1 factorial is congruent to minus 1 modulo p. So p is prime number, then factorial of p minus 1 is congruent to minus 1 modulo p. Remember that p minus 1 is congruent to minus 1 modulo p. Remember this. This is always true. P minus 1 is congruent to minus 1 modulo p, because the difference of p minus 1 and minus 1 is p, and p divides p. That's why p minus 1 is congruent to minus 1 modulo p. So we can state this result as also p minus 1 factorial is congruent to p minus 1 modulo p, as minus 1 is congruent to p minus 1 modulo p. So let's have proof. The theorem is true for p is equals to 2 and p is equals to 3. If we put here value of p is equals to 2, then 2 minus 1, that is 1 factorial, and 1 factorial is congruent to minus 1 modulo 2, because difference of 1 and minus 1 is 2 and 2 divides 2. So in this case, for p is equals to 2, theorem holds. Similarly, for another value p is equals to 3, if we put p is equals to 3 here, then 3 minus 1, that is 2 factorial, and 2 factorial is equals to 1. Again 2 is congruent to minus 1 modulo 3, because the difference of 2 and minus 1 is 3 and 3 divides 3. That's why p is equals to 3, theorem holds good. So let's assume p is greater than 3 and proceed to prove. Let p is greater than 3. Suppose that a is any positive integer between 1 and p minus 1. That is, a is lies in between 1 and p minus 1. Then GCD of a with p is 1. Means here we assume a is any integer in between 1 and p minus 1. So obviously a is co-prime to prime number p. Therefore GCD of a comma p is equals to 1. And whenever GCD of a comma p is equals to 1, then this imply the linear congruence ax congruent to 1 modulo p has a solution. So first here we assume a is the integer lies in between 1 and p minus 1, and as a is between 1 and p minus 1, a is co-prime to p, and whenever a is co-prime to p, then we have the linear congruence ax is congruent to 1 modulo p, which has a solution. Now let's assume a dash be the solution. Let a dash be a solution of this congruence ax congruent to 1 modulo p. So substitute x is equals to a dash, then we obtain a into a dash congruent to 1 modulo p. Since p is a prime number, then a is equals to a dash if and only if a equals to 1 or a equals to p minus 1. Now we claim a is equals to a dash then if and only if either a is 1 or a is p minus 1, as p is prime number. So let's prove. So for a is equals to a dash, we have substitute value of a dash equals to a. So we obtain a into a congruent to 1 modulo p. This implies a square is congruent to 1 modulo p. Now shifting this one on left side of congruence, we obtain a square minus 1 is congruent to 0 modulo p, and we know that a square minus b square is a minus b into a plus b. So here a square minus 1 square, that is a square minus 1, can be written as a minus 1 into a plus 1 congruent to 0 modulo p. So this product is congruent to 0 modulo p, means either a minus 1 should be 0 or a plus 1 should be 0, or both may be 0. So this is only possibility. So this implies a is equals to 1 or a is equals to minus 1, but I already told you minus 1 is always congruent to p minus 1 modulo 1, sorry, p minus 1 modulo p. That's why here we take a is equals to p minus 1 instead of minus 1. So from here we obtain a equals to 1 and a equals to p minus 1. So whenever a is equals to a dash, then a is equals to either 1 or a is equals to p minus 1. So now if a is not equals to a dash, then a and a dash can be any one of the 2, 3 up to p minus 2, because we already, whenever a is equals to a dash, we take then a is 1 or a is equals to p minus 1. Now remaining other than this 1 and p minus 1, we have these integers. So if a not equals to a dash, then your a and a dash can be any one of the 2, 3 up to p minus 2. Now we group the above integers into pairs a comma a dash, where a not equals to a dash, such that their product a into a dash is congruent to 1 modulo p. Means what to do? Now whatever the remaining integers are here, 2, 3 up to p minus 1, p minus 2. So how many total integers are here? So here we omitted 1 and p minus 1. 1 and p minus 1. So how many remains here? Suppose if we have total p integers and we remove 1, p minus 1 and p minus 2. So how many integers we remove? 3 integers. So how many remains? Total p minus 3 integers remains. Total p minus 3 integers remain. So if we paired that all p minus 3 integers, so how many pairs we get? Total we get p minus 3 by 2 pairs. Okay, so now we group these integers into pairs a and a dash. Suppose if I take a is equals to 2, then I have to choose a dash such that the product of 2 and whatever you choose a dash should be congruent to 1 modulo p. So such pairs we have to do. So where a not equals to a dash, such that their product a dash is congruent to 1 modulo p. So now here total we have p minus 3 by 2 pairs. Let's see here, there are p minus 3 by 2 such pairs, and when these p minus 3 by 2 congruences are multiplied together and the factors rearranged, we get 2 multiplied by 3 multiplied by up to and so on multiplied by p minus 2 congruent to 1 modulo p. Now if you multiply by that pairs, they should also congruent to 1 modulo p, and if we multiply by on both sides by 1 on this congruence, so what we obtain? 1 into 2 into 3 up to p minus 2. This is nothing but p minus 2 factorial is congruent to 1 into 1 modulo p. So we obtain p minus 2 factorial is congruent to 1 modulo p. Now multiplying on both sides of the congruence says by p minus 1. If we multiply by this congruence by p minus 1, what we get? P minus 1 into p minus 2 factorial is congruent to p minus 1 into 1 modulo p. So p minus 2 factorial into p minus 1 is nothing but p minus 1 factorial is congruent to p minus 1 modulo p. But as earlier, p minus 1 is congruent to minus 1 modulo p. This implies p minus 1 factorial is congruent to minus 1 modulo p, which proves the theorem. So this is the proof of theorem. Now this proof is done by Lagrange. He also observed that the converse of Wilson's theorem holds. So the converse of Wilson's theorem is true, that is, if n minus 1 factorial is congruent to minus 1 modulo n, then n must be a prime number. So when this thing happened, then your n must be a prime number. Let's have one example. Example 5.1. Let p equals to 13. Then we can divide the integers 2, 3 up to 11 into p minus 3 by 2. So 13 minus 3 by 2, that is 10 by 2 equals to 5 pairs a comma a dash, satisfying the congruence a dash is congruent to 1 modulo 13. 1 modulo 13. Here is 11, sorry. Actually it is a dash is congruent to 1 modulo 13. So what are the pairs? Suppose if I take 2 with 7, 2 into 7, 14, and 14 is congruent to 1 modulo 13. Similarly, if I choose 3, then 3 into 9, 27, and 27 is congruent to 1 modulo 13. Similarly, if I take 4, then 4 into 10, 40, and 40 is congruent to 1 modulo 13, because 40 minus 1, 39, and 39 is divisible by 13. Similarly, if I take next integer 5, so I found a dash is equals to 8, such that 5 into 8 is congruent to 1 modulo 30. Similarly, if I choose 6, then a dash must be 11, because 6 into 11 is 66, and 66 is congruent to 1 modulo 13, because the difference of 66 and 1 is 65, which is divisible by 13. So here we take all such pairs. Here we take all such pairs. So total 5 pairs we get. So whatever here prime numbers given, we have to collect p minus 3 by 2 such pairs, and here we have to omit 1, and here we have to omit 2 integers, 1 and p minus 2, also p minus 1 we have to omit. Now whatever we proceed in proof, same we have to do here. We have to multiply these, we have to take all these we have to multiplying these congruences. So what we obtain: 2 into 7, 3 into 9, 4 into 10, 5 into 8, 6 into 11. So this is nothing but 2 into 3 into 4 into 5 into 6 into 7 into 8 into 9 into 10 into 11. So multiplying on both sides by, which is congruent to 1 modulo 13. 11 factorial is congruent to 1 modulo 30. How this come? So first we take multiplication of this, congruent to 1 into 1 into 1 is 1 modulo 30. So after multiplying on both sides by 1, this quantity is equals to what? This quantity becomes 11 factorial. That's why 11 factorial is congruent to 1 modulo 30. Now if we multiply by on both sides of this congruence by 12, so what we get? 12 into 11 factorial is congruent to 12 modulo 13. It's congruent to 12 modulo 13. So 12 into 11 factorial is 12 factorial, which is congruent to 12 modulo 13, but 12 is congruent to minus 1 modulo 13. That's why 12 factorial is congruent to minus 1 modulo 13. Thus p minus 1 factorial is congruent to minus 1 modulo 13, with p is equals to 13. So whatever this example will helps you to understand proof of theorems, or maybe proof of theorem, maybe one could understand proof of theorem, and this will help to understand this example. Now from problem set 5.3, let's have example. Find the remainder when 15 factorial is divided by 17. Here we have to calculate remainder when this 15 factorial is divided by 17. This is one of the application for Wilson's theorem. So by Wilson's theorem, here 17 is prime number. So by Wilson's theorem, p minus 1 factorial is congruent to minus 1 modulo p. So 17 minus 1 factorial is congruent to minus 1 modulo 17. So this implies 60 factorial is congruent to minus 1 modulo 17. And we know that p minus 1 is congruent to minus 1 modulo p. So that's why here 17 minus 1 is congruent to minus 1 modulo p. That is 16 is congruent to minus 1 modulo p. That's why here 16 factorial is congruent to 16 modulo 17. Dividing on both sides by 16. So 16 factorial upon 16 is congruent to 16 upon 16 modulo 17. So 16 factorial upon 16 is 15 factorial, which is congruent to 1 modulo 17. This implies 1 is the remainder after dividing 15 factorial by 17. So a very simple example. So there are some another examples on same way you have to proceed. See problem set 5.3. Now next theorem number 5.2. The quadratic congruence x square plus 1 congruent to 0 modulo p, where p is an odd prime, has a solution if and only if p is congruent to 1 modulo 4. So this is a quadratic congruence as its degree is 2. So this quadratic congruence x square congruent to minus 1 modulo p, where p is an odd prime, this quadratic congruence has a solution if and only if prime p is congruent to 1 modulo 4. Let A be solution of the quadratic congruence x square plus 1 congruent to 0 modulo p. So what we obtained as A is solution, we obtained a square plus 1 is congruent to 0 modulo p. This implies a square is congruent to minus 1 modulo p. This implies p divides a square plus 1, and from which we can observe p does not divides a square, and as p doesn't divides a square, this implies p doesn't divides a. Here is p doesn't divides a. By Fermat's theorem, a to the power p minus 1 is congruent to 1 modulo p. So we can modify this as a square to the power p minus 1 by 2. Here we modified this a as a square to the power p minus 1 by 2. This quantity is nothing but a to the power p minus 1, which is congruent to 1 modulo p. But here a square is congruent to minus 1 modulo p. That's why minus 1 to the power p minus 1 by 2 is congruent to 1 modulo p. What we obtain here, minus 1 to the power p minus 1 by 2 congruent to 1 modulo p. Now assume p is greater than 3. Then by division algorithm applied for p and 4, we have p is equals to 4k plus r. Here we have p is equals to 4k plus r, where r is equals to 1 or r is equals to 3. Why not r is equals to 0 or r is equals to 2? If we take r is equals to 0, then it becomes p is equals to 4k, where k is some integer, so p is equals to 4k. this is not, then P never be prime number, means then P becomes composite number for R is equals to 0. That's why R never be 0. If we take R is equals to 2, in this case also P becomes composite number. That's why R is neither 0 nor 2. So here we choose R is equals to either 1 or R is equals to 3. Now we claim that P is not of the form 4k plus 3. Here we have to prove that P is not of the form 4k plus 3. Means simply we are stating here R also not equals to 3. Suppose P is equals to 4k plus 3 for some k. Then what we have, we know that minus 1 to what we obtain, minus 1 to the power P minus 1 by 2 congruent to minus 1 modulo P. So here we put value of P here. So what is the value of P? 4k plus 3 minus 1. So 3 minus 1, 2. So 4k plus 2 by 2, that is minus 1 to the power 2k plus 1. And 2k plus 1 is, this is odd power. Minus 1 to the power odd number is minus 1. So minus 1 to the power P minus 1 by 2 is congruent to minus 1 mod P, which is a contradiction. Therefore P has to be of the form 4k plus 1. So what we proved here, we assumed, here we applied division algorithm for P and 4. So P is chosen as 4k plus R, and R not equals to 3. This we have proven. So R must be 1. So therefore P has to be of the form 4k plus 1. Thus P is equals to 4k plus 1, which implies 4 divides P minus 1. This is equals to what? P is equals to 4k plus 1. This implies P minus 1 is equals to 4k, which implies 4 divides P minus 1. And as 4 divides this difference, this implies P is congruent to 1 modulo 4. So first we assume x square plus 1 congruent to 0 modulo P has a solution, and proved P is congruent to 1 modulo 4. Now we prove converse part, that is assuming P is congruent to 1 modulo 4 and prove the congruence x square plus 1 congruent to 0 modulo P has a solution. So conversely, suppose that P is congruent to 1 modulo 4. Then by Wilson's theorem, P minus 1 factorial is congruent to minus 1 modulo P. But value of this factorial P minus 1 factorial is 1 into 2 into 3 up to and so on, P minus 1 by 2 into P plus 1 by 2 into up to and so on, P minus 2 into P minus 1. This is value of P minus 1 factorial, which is congruent to minus 1 modulo P. Thus we have the congruences P minus 1 congruent to minus 1 modulo P, P minus 2 is congruent to minus 2 modulo P, and so on. P plus 1 by 2 is congruent to minus P minus 1 by 2 modulo P. So rearranging the terms, and we know that P minus 1 factorial is congruent to minus 1 modulo P. First we rearrange this term. So what we obtain, 1 into P minus 1, 2 into P minus 2 up to and so on, P minus 1 into 2 into P plus 1 into 2, sorry, upon 2 is congruent to minus 1 modulo P. After rearranging the terms, we reach at this step 1 into P minus 1, 2 into P minus 2 up to and so on, P minus 1 by 2 into P plus 1 by 2 is congruent to minus 1 modulo P. So this implies, so we know that P minus 1 is congruent to minus 1 modulo P. That's why 1 into minus 1. Similarly, 2 into P minus 2 is congruent to minus 2 modulo P. So 2 into minus 2. Similarly, 3 into minus 3 up to and so on. P minus 1 by 2 into P plus 1 by 2 congruent to minus 1 modulo P. So this implies 1 into 2 into 3 into up to and so on P minus 1 by 2 into 1 into 2 into 3 into up to and so on p minus 1 by 2. Means here we obtain, after multiplying this term, these terms, this is pair, this is pair, this is pair, and this is also pair. So multiplication of this is what? 1 into 2 into up to and so on p minus 1 by 2 its square into minus 1 to the power p minus 1 by 2. How many times minus sign occurs here? P minus 1 by 2 times minus sign occurs. That's why minus 1 to the power p minus 1 by 2 into 1 into 2 into up to p minus 1 by 2 its square is congruent to minus 1 modulo p. But p minus 1 by 2, 1 into 2 into up to p minus 1 by 2, this is nothing but p minus 1 by 2 factorial. So p minus 1 by 2 factorial its square into minus 1 to the power p minus 1 by 2 is congruent to minus 1 modulo p. Now if we assume p is equals to 4k plus 1, then this implies after shifting 1 on left side, p minus 1 equals to 4k. So therefore now put value of p minus 1 equals to 4k here, minus 1 to the power p minus 1 by 2. Put here value of p minus 1 is 4k. So this implies minus 1 to the power p minus 1 by 2 is equals to minus 1 to the power 4k by 2. 4k by 2 is 2k. So minus 1 to the power 2k is 1, as power is even. So minus 1 to the power even number is always 1. So minus 1 to the power p minus 1 by 2 is equals to 1. So this implies p minus 1 by 2 factorial its square is congruent to minus 1 modulo p. We reached at this step. So if we shift minus 1 on this side, what we obtain? P minus 1 by 2 factorial its square plus 1 is congruent to 1 modulo p. So comparing this with x square plus 1 is congruent to 0 mod p, we reach x is equals to p minus 1 by 2 factorial is solution. Hence p minus 1 by 2 factorial is a solution of x square plus 1 0 modulo p. This completes the proof. So in this video we discussed Wilson theorem. Also we observed converse of Wilson's theorem holds, and also we proved the quadratic congruence x square plus 1 congruent to 0 modulo p has a solution if and only if p is congruent to 1 modulo 4. So these three things we discussed in the video. Thank you.